Hey, Scott. Congrats on another great event. Let's talk about the main event first. Mousasi defeating welterweight champion Lima for the middleweight belt. What did you think of his performance and Lima's performance as well?
I mean, I think you saw a real tactical fight, and there are some bombs being thrown out there. I mean, let's face it. You saw Gegard leaving here. He's in a lot of pain. He took a lot of shots, and Lima took a lot of shots. And I think it was a tactical fight. At times, they really engaged and threw some bombs, especially when Gegard took him down in the first round, started throwing those elbows. I know he was trying to cut him and hurt him on the ground, but Lima was able to weather the storm. But Gegard did tell me one thing. He said, when I started elbowing him and I knew that I couldn't hurt him, because I knew it was going to be a long night.
What did you think of Douglas at 185? I know, but coming into the fight, you said that you thought that the size would be a little different than the Rory McDonald fight against Mousasi. What did you think when you saw him in there tonight?
You know what? I'll tell you. I actually thought he handled the weight well. And Gegard versus Rory was a much different fight, as you know. I mean, he just destroyed Rory. Gegard versus Lima was a tactical war. Lima was looking for that big counterpunch. In my opinion, that's how he kind of had the fight going, with that, trying to get that left hook in there. And it was just Gegard's night. But I'm sure both of them are not going to be in good spirits tonight and dealing with a lot of pain. And it was a great main event.
Both before and after this fight, Mousasi said that John Salter would probably be the next one in line for him. Do you agree with that assessment?
Again, this is something that, a lot of times when we get asked these questions after the fight, I like to take it back to my guys back in the Bay Area, and we'll evaluate and see who's next for Gegard. But there's a couple of people that I have in mind, and same thing for Douglas Lima. He's still our 175-pound champ, and we're going to have some good fights for him as well. I know the MVP wants to fight him again. I think of Neiman Gracie right off the top of my head. And so we're going to put him in some good fights, and we're going to let him heal up, rest up with these guys, because they're going to be banged up for a while. And, sometime next year, we'll put him back into the cage.
Jake Hager making his return tonight. Definitely the toughest opponent that he's faced, the toughest challenge. Pretty exciting fight, though. What did you think of his performance and his ability to take some damage and still win?
You know what? I was actually impressed, and I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't need to do this. Jake Hager does not need to be an MMA fighter fighting in the cage. It's something he wants to do, and he's still relatively young in his career, right? Because he's only had 2 or 3 fights, something like that. And so to me, I give him a lot of respect. And he was in a fight tonight, right? So he had to get that dog out in him and finish this fight and keep fighting, because he was caught. I think it was the second round he got caught, and then he weathered the storm. He came back and he started throwing some good right hands. He got cut up pretty bad. I think he has an eye injury. It's like, he was in a fight. He was in a dog fight today. So, all those people out there that, are, giving him bad time. Look, for a guy with that kind of experience, we saw what he was made of tonight, which I was really impressed. So, I would give him a good report card for his effort and his performance. And, I would say to people, just, don't be so tough, because like I said, this guy's just a beginner. He's only had a few fights.
And I think this card, for the first time since you guys have been back, you guys had a couple of cancellations. Mm-hmm. Later on, it came out that they were positive COVID tests. So can you shed any light on that? Is there anything you guys think you need to do differently going forward, or is it just something that's going to happen these days?
Well, you know what? Look, this is the new normal, right? We test throughout the week. And if they flunk a test sometime from the time they get here and test until the last test, which is Wednesday, Tuesday, and results come back on Wednesday, then they're not qualified to fight anymore. That's just how the rule is. So to me, it's unfortunate, but safety first. And, I think that now that they've been informed and the athletes have been told this is what happened, I think they're actually going to step 2, which is like, oh, I better go take care of this, and I better quarantine. I better, make sure that no one's around me. And, I'm thinking they're going to preventative mode now. So I think there's initial shock originally, but, this is not just in MMA. This is not just here at Bellator. It's in the NFL. It's in Major League Baseball, like you saw the Dodgers in the World Series. It's like it's in every sport. So to me, I think we do a great job. We have a great bubble here, and if the fighter tests along the way, then they can't fight. That's just the rules.
All right, we'll take a few questions from the media joining us virtually tonight. Giancarlo.
Hi, Scott. Henry Corrales, after his win tonight, he was talking about Juan Archuleta and wanting to move down to challenge him for the title. Is that a fight that you're interested in entertaining?
Wow, that's the first I've heard that he wanted to go down to 35. But if he really wants to do it, we should have a conversation. That's a tough kid right there. He was under fire, and he was very calm and very composed. It's probably the best I've seen Henry look since the time that we've signed him. So, at 35, we got Juan, we have Patrick Mix, we have some new athletes, Magomedov. We got, Horiguchi that probably will come and fight for us at some point. I mean, we got a great 135-pound weight class. And if Henry wants to go down there, I think it would just be another addition just to strengthen up that division. So he'll be welcome to come down there and fight at 35 if he wishes.
Santiago.
Hi, Scott. Greetings from Amsterdam, and congratulations on a beautiful night of fights again. Next week, Melvin Manhoef is going to fight in the main event against Corey Anderson. Melvin will be the 4th Dutch main event fighter in the last 5 weeks. How proud are you of the Dutch force on your Bellator roster?
Listen, everybody knows the Dutch can bring it. And this goes way back even to the K1 days. It was the Dutch that was winning everything. Ernesto Hoos was winning 3-4 times. Peter Arts winning all the time. I mean, Sammy Schultz, Remy Bonjeski, I'm talking about kickboxing, of course, but there's such a great tradition of martial arts combat in the Netherlands. And, I just think the fighters are going to keep coming and keep getting better and better. And, very proud to have them on our cards.
Donna.
Hi, Scott. I wanted to ask you about, you've had some fighters this week. We spoke to Jake Hager at the media day. Obviously, he didn't come back today because he went to the hospital. But at the media day, he was open, talking about his support of the president. We had another fighter come in today and wear his Trump hat. Of course, in the other promotion, the promoter likes to talk about politics a lot. He's very vocal about who he supports. You try to kind of stay apolitical a lot of the time. It's of course, a big week in American politics. What's your stance on your fighters coming out and making these big political statements using your platform?
I think that, listen, we let the fighters have their own sponsors. We let the fighters express themselves as long as it's, within guidelines of something that is, done properly, let's say, and not cross the line a little bit. This is a very touchy subject because of the politics and where this country is at right now. But really, I feel like if they have the desire to have that be on their shorts or be on their banner, I mean, that's really up to them.
Jay.
Thanks very much. Scott, congrats on the event tonight. Gegard said after the fight he doesn't necessarily care about having 2 titles, but if the opportunity was given to him, he'd take it. I guess that kind of leaves it up to the promotion. Is that something you'd be interested in seeing him doing?
Absolutely. I mean, when we signed Gegard, he had a desire to fight at 205 as well. So, we're going to explore that. We have some great fights for him at 205. I still think we have the best 205 pound weight class fighters in the world. We have I think 6, 7, 8 deep, including Corey Anderson, who's going to fight Melvin next week on Thursday. So to me, it's something that I think that he should do, and he should go try it out and check it out. But it's really going to be up to him and see how he feels. But Gegard fighting at 205, I see him fighting Ryan Bader. I see him fighting maybe Corey Anderson, or I see him, I mean, there's a lot of guys, even fighting Nemkov at some point. If he wants to go for the belt, we can have that conversation. But we just haven't had it yet. He's been focusing on this fight, and now that it's over, I'm going to let him rest up, and then we'll have some conversations.
Darren.
Thanks so much for having me, and congratulations on another great event, Scott. Question coming out of nowhere here, but Mohegan Sun's one of my favorite places to go, period. But what is it that brings Bellator there so regularly?
Well, we've been set up here for the last, I want to say since mid-July. So we're going to be here to the end of the year. And, you know, we've had a great relationship with the hotel before we entered into this bubble. But with COVID hitting and knowing that we're going to go into an isolated situation, create our own bubble, we felt that this was the place to come, and they were very good partners. And we actually wanted to come here and have our fights here. And we took over the arena, and Showtime is doing boxing here for the most part, and we're doing our MMA here. So it's been a good relationship between Showtime, Bellator, and the Mohegan Sun.
We have time for one or two more. Sean?
Scott, again, congratulations on a great event. Obviously, you had just announced for the women's flyweight title, Ilima McFarland against Juliana Velasquez. It's going to be an exciting fight. I mean, obviously, you would love to hold that in Hawaii, a packed crowd there in Ilima's hometown, home country. With that aside, this is still a huge international fight, so just talk about the ramifications. Internationally, you're looking to draw huge numbers.
Listen, Juliana Velasquez is a tough fighter. She will be the toughest test for Ilima McFarland to date. And Ilima's fought some tough girls, and she's done very well. But this will be her toughest test to date. We're expecting a war. I think that, the champ, Ilima, is training. She's getting ready. I think mentally she's preparing herself, and she's ready for this task. And for Velasquez, this is her dream. This is something she's always wanted to do, is win the belt. And she's coming here, and she's going to, try her best to fight Ilima and take the belt home. So to me, it's going to be a war. This is something that you have two undefeated fighters. Very rarely does that happen in this sport at the highest level, like it is right here, having a world title fight. So to me, this is a fight I'm really looking forward to. Everybody should put this down in their calendar, because it's going to be fireworks on December 10th.
Last question, John.
Hi, Scott. I wanted to ask you about Cody Law. He made his pro debut today, and he picked up a first-round submission. Just your thoughts on his performance and where you see him in the future.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I did not see that fight. I was on my way down here, so I missed it. But if you want, we can arrange a conversation with you and Rich, and he can explain to you how he feels about Cody.
Hey, Scott.
We'll take, one last question here from Kevin. Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. One big question I have for me is recently it was released that there's been a big influx of retirements and releases from the Bellator roster. Any comment on that?
You know what? I think if you factor in the amount of months that we haven't cut anybody or changed our roster over, it's been about 3 athletes a month that have gone out to 3 athletes that have come in. We try to manage our roster right below 300, and that's kind of where we feel comfortable. And so that's a goal. But it just seems like a lot because it happened all at once. But really, we haven't, had this conversation with fighters and change our roster and actually cut fighters since probably, January or February. So it's been a long time. And to me, it's like, look, we got a lot of new fighters that we're signing and a lot of blue chip prospects we brought in. We have to make room for those guys. And so, like I said earlier, some of the fighters retired. Some of the fighters' contracts expired. And, we need to make room. So that's what the nature of that is that, we're gonna have new fighters coming in, fighters going out. But really, if you average it over the last, 10 months, it's really like three a month. So it just happened all at once. That's just the way it went down. But it's not something that is as drastic as it appears.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.